Hey, Frankie here. So this video is a quick review, and it's just if you're wondering, does LegalMatch actually work? First though, have you ever heard of this really bizarre TV show called The Bachelor? One guy goes on and 20 different women chase after him. Well, in this video, I'm going to explain. The Bachelor actually explains why LegalMatch.com is a bad idea, in my opinion. So first though, let me show you what actual attorneys have to say about it. And I'm going to show you first the bad, which is Edgar basically says they're ridiculously expensive, they have one-sided draconian contracts, and pushy salespeople. These three people, Robert, Cynthia, and Stephen, didn't really elaborate, but no. Well, actually, Cynthia says it's expensive and cumbersome, but, just an emphatic no. And Douglas said in his search he did his due diligence, and he found out that there were tons of lawyers defaulting on these expensive contracts, and, LegalMatch is suing a whole lot of these people, and basically he points out, if they were really as profitable as they claimed, the lawyers would probably be pretty happy to pay those fees. And Judith says that, she basically got a lot of inapplicable referrals and people that didn't want to pay, so kind of like really low quality leads. Now, I didn't want to, just show you one side, so let me show you the people, the actual attorneys it worked for. Bonnie says she used them. She says not only is it expensive, but it was a great deal of work for her to cultivate a client for their system, and she personally, even though it worked for her, she wouldn't recommend. And Charles was one of the few success stories I found. He said he's been using it for 4 to 5 years. It's a lot of work in building his client base. He gets a lot of leads from but very few actually retain an attorney, so he's allowed people to contact him. But the moral of that is he's kind of pointing out, again, a lot of really low quality leads. So did you notice something interesting? I'm talking about specifically in the people that it actually worked for. It's a lot of work. So doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of paying someone else a lot of money? I mean, it's not cheap to generate leads for you if it's going to end up being a lot of work. So finally, what does this have to do with The Bachelor? Well, Jimmy Kimmel says The Bachelor is the show that answers the question, how much wine do you have to drink until the guy making out with 20 different women seems like he'd make a good husband? And so if you actually think about this, the whole setup of LegalMatch is actually a lot like The Bachelor, because there's one client who shows up and they're kind of almost like swimming with sharks being chased after by 20 different attorneys. So, and often that lead is one unqualified lead who's shopping around and 20 different lawyers competing for it. When it's put that way, does that really sound like a good idea to you, especially if you're going to pay a lot of money and have to do a lot of work to dig for it? So even if it works for you, even if you're one of the success stories, what happens if LegalMatch, someday gets Google slapped, or maybe their price goes even too high for you to generate an ROI? It's a lot of stake to put, your whole legal practice in their hands. So what's a better alternative? And that is to generate leads for yourself, to actually control them, especially when you consider it's a lot of work to use something like LegalMatch and it's expensive anyway. So I know that probably sounds like a lot of work. I mean, you're an attorney, you probably already work 80-hour weeks for sometimes insanely crazy clients. So this is exactly why I've created a system to generate your own leads for you. And it's completely step-by-step. It's the same system that's generated over $20 million for my clients on Oprah and Dr. Phil and stuff. And that's just to say that it's it's battle tested in the real world. It's not theory or fluff. And I'm going to give it to you right now completely for free. And just in case you're wondering why is it free, you're right to be skeptical. The reason is very simple, is that in a lot of cases it helps us generate new business, because many attorneys they're just too busy and they'd rather us do it for them. Having said that, there's no catch. It's completely free, and you're able to get this step-by-step system and kind of, use it as long as you need. So if building your practice on a stable footing, by being able to generate your own on-demand good clients and solid cases sounds like a good idea to you, then what I want you to do right now is to go to lawyerclients.com and save your LegalMatch money and learn how to do this yourself. And so when you get there, you'll see our homepage, which currently looks like this, and I've got a special free offer, and what it's going to do, it's going to give you a one-page assessment, which will score you out of 100. And from that assessment, you'll be able to tell, exactly the areas you need to improve in your business, so that you know exactly how to generate these client leads for yourself. And you can do it in a much better way, where rather than having a bachelor setting where it's one unqualified lead and 20 attorneys competing for it, I'll show you how to generate one single qualified lead, and we'll be speaking with them through your marketing one-to-one, which is a much, much better scenario to be in. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, what I want you to do is to go right now to lawyerclients.com, or click the link below this video and download it. It's free. So I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching.